Hi, welcome to Coffee and Closers. I'm Nikolai Bedore, and I want to personally invite you to join me and one of today's top performing sales stars for a cup of coffee and authentic conversation. And our collective goal is that you will walk away with tangible knowledge that you can apply to your sales efforts today. Are you ready? Grab a cup, fill it up, and let's get into another episode of Coffee and Closers. Put your hands together and welcome to Coffee and Closers. Woo! What time is it? Welcome. How many people do we have in sales and marketing? Wow, okay. How many founders do we have here? Fantastic. And truth be told, how many want to be founders do we have? Honestly, Startup Week was built for you, so welcome.
Come on, girl.
So here's how this is gonna go. We do a podcast and a vlog that you guys are free to check out. It's on our website, bedorebusinessgroup.com, or you can Google it, Coffee and Closers. So we record the first part of this. I'm gonna ask 3 to 5 questions, and then after that, actually, it's being recorded by Jensen Studios, so turn around and give a little hand of applause. If you guys haven't seen these guys, they're doing all the Startup Week, they're amazing. And then we're gonna pull the plug, and that's when you guys get a chance to ask 2 of the top-rated, top-level salespeople in the country anything that you want about sales, marketing, challenges, successes, failures, all that kind of stuff. And please do it, right? Rarely do you get an opportunity to ask questions to folks like this. They're just generally not available, all right? So before we get into that, I want to thank some people, the people that make this possible. So I'm going to have them stand up. I'm going to have you hold your applause so that they can get that recognition that they deserve. This would not be possible without them. And at the end, let's make it thunder roar with some applause, and then we're going to get into this. Sound fair? Right. All right. Does anyone here make too much money doing something that they love way too much? No. Okay. Where is Jeff Sorensen? All right. So Jeff Sorensen left a lucrative career in sales leadership to start Red Birch Recruiting. I've worked with him. He's the highest level of integrity. So go talk to Jeff afterwards if you just want to be in a relationship with someone who does what he does. Thank you for supporting this, man. And then, does anyone else want to sell more? I mean, you're here, so I'm assuming you do, right? You want to sell more? Okay, good. Well, Adam Thompson, where's Adam? Adam did the same thing except more at the performance level. So he left the top of his game because he had a desire to teach and to coach founders. Where's my founder? Founders, sales pros, people, people in that position, and he does a fantastic job. He's the only person that I called for this sponsorship. I said, I want one coach and one trainer, and you're the best in the business, so thanks for doing this, right? I'm forgetting. Okay, so for us founders and for us salespeople, especially with the level of ADHD that I have, anyone else? No? All right. What sucks the worst about being a salesperson, or a founder for that matter? It's the minutia, right? It's like the operations. It's keeping everything tight. It's all that kind of stuff. Josh, you know about that as a new founder. That's why Power Motive exists. So where's Paul? Where's Andy? These guys right here. Do yourselves a favor. If you are in a position that you are not an integrator, meaning you are not skilled at organization, keeping projects on time, data-driven, stuff like that, stuff that keeps our jobs alive, go and talk to them afterwards. All right? And last but not least, we have an office upstairs here at WeWork. Do you know what it's like to walk into a place where you are celebrated and appreciated every single day? It makes your work a lot better. So I want to thank WeWork for sponsoring this, being a part of this from the start. And with that, let's give them a round of applause. Those are our sponsors for 2018. All right. Well, my name is Nikolai Bedore. I'm the creator and founder of Coffee and Closers. And when I'm not here, I run a revenue growth agency called BBG. With what we do, we get a chance to hang out with sales elite, and these two are no exception. All right. Prentice, there she is right there. So Prentice cut her teeth at an Inc. 500 company called Love Your Melon. You guys heard of them?
Yeah.
All right, everyone loves those guys. So she cut her teeth there, and before moving on, closed her biggest deal of her life, which was convincing Brian, where's Brian? Someday to be her husband. Boom. So she took that mojo off to the East Coast and worked for a little SaaS startup called HubSpot. Anyone? Yeah. So she made it rain there, 120% to goal year over year over year, which is why one of the largest co-working spaces on the planet Earth called her back to Minneapolis to say, I want you to do the same thing here. And it's been raining all year for these guys. So, sitting next to her will be Wendi Russo. Has anyone ever heard of As Seen on TV? Well, Wendy's been seen on TV for the last 14 years. She's been mastering the sale of how to sell something and bring value to you and to me in 4 minutes or less. When we talked in this kind of interview, I couldn't I can't wait to learn from you. She's also a huge advocate for women on the rise, coaching, mentoring, and so on. And as a father of a daughter, I couldn't agree with that mission more. So with that, put your hands together for these women in sales. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys stick together since we have one mic, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
So, outside of the cheese and the fluff, why don't you guys fill in the blanks? Tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
Well, I started off selling office equipment. I actually sold fax machines, which not too many people use anymore. Look, he kind of laughed.
Well, it's a good thing you made a career change.
You got to move with the times. I then moved into pharmaceutical sales, and I was an actress for many years and did various different sales jobs over my career. And I moved into television, combining my TV experience along with sales. And one day I heard from an agent I had never heard from in my life. And she asked me if I would like to sell on television, and I said yes. So I moved here to Minneapolis about 14 years ago. I was on a network called Shop NBC, which has since changed their name many different times, and I'm sure there's more to come. But I've been on television probably about 15 hours a week, straight 3 hours in a shot, maybe 4 hours, talking about hundreds and thousands of products. And so with that, with my sales, time is money. And we're looking at dollars per minute. So I've really learned to hone my craft and be able to sell anything, giving the features and the benefits, tying it into a personal story within 4 minutes or less. And very oftentimes in sales in the real world, even then, we only have a few moments to capture someone's attention. People are they're in a hurry, and if you're trying to catch their attention, you need to do it very quickly with what we call a headline, where you are catching them either with a question, a need they might have, or maybe you're just creating a storyline about your product in about a sentence or two. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'll pass it on.
Thank you. So, Nikolai, thank you for that introduction. I started with Love Your Melon when I was actually still in college. So, brief stint after that at Fidelity Investments, selling mutual funds there. I did learn very quickly, although I appreciate the financial industry, it was much easier for me to sell a story, to sell an overall mindset that I fully believed in and could get behind, which made it very easy to transition into HubSpot. I believe in what it does for small businesses and what that end goal is, similar to the Love Your Melon mindset and what can be achieved there. So that transitioned very quickly into WeWork. I believe in the product here, and that kind of remained at the core of what I want to do with my selling career now and moving forward is really always believe in that product and make sure that there is a greater mission to be selling behind what I'm doing. So that's my nutshell there.
All right. Oh, we got a fan base back there. Cool.
Amazing WeWork crew in the back.
Prentice.com. So you guys are up here because you've been successful, right? You've been successful, otherwise you wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be listening to you. We'd be chugging driven coffee somewhere. I'd love to hear about what makes us stronger, and that is failure. All right, we've all failed. Has anyone here besides myself failed? All right, we all have, and that's what makes us stronger. So I'd love to kind of hear of a time that maybe you just faced a challenge, it didn't go so hot, and what you learned from that, how you overcame.
I really don't look at anything as a failure, to be honest with you. I look at everything as a learning opportunity. I look at everything that does fail as a push. I call it that kick to move you in another direction. So if you tried one way or one tactic and it's not working, maybe you need to get back to the heart of who you are, your own integrity level, what makes you special and unique. Because I do think that sometimes in sales or in life, we try to follow a certain formula that other people have found success in. We have to find our own success. We need to find our own niche. You need to work with what feels comfortable for you and is in alignment with who you are and your integrity and values. So every time that I have found something maybe wasn't a fit, whether it was a job or whether it was, trying to get into a certain office and close a sale, I found that maybe that wasn't going to be my entry point. Go where the green lights are. Don't push all the time. If you have a client who's constantly saying no, there's a limit on how much time you want to spend on somebody who is a flat no. versus working towards someone who has nobody approaching them, or maybe no one's come up to them with this idea. So be creative. I think creativity is really what I've learned from any quote failure. Again, I don't feel I've ever failed at things. I feel that I've had learnings, and I feel that we all have opportunities that we can find out of any failure.
I love that answer. Definitely echo all of that. But I think that the biggest asset you can have as a strong salesperson is to have that thick skin, because you're going to fail left and right, and you have to be okay with it. So I think embracing failure, like she was saying there, and not even seeing it as that, is the biggest aspect of what you can do with it. I've been hung up on so many times. I've had Zoom calls where I was talking to people, they'd straight up hang up on you too. Like, that happens so often. It's not always gonna be the best time to sell to someone, and you have to be okay with that, or I would highly suggest finding a different industry. So I think that I fail all the time, constantly, but it's just learning from it.
Awesome. Those are great. So I got to ask a question. I mean, look at our audience, right? So I'm going to ask it. Just for the record, just so you guys are aware, I'm not a woman. Just make that clear. So I don't know what it's like to be a woman in sales, and I'm not going to pretend to be. So could you guys kind of fill us in? I'd love to hear what.
You know, it's funny, on social media, I had actually asked somebody, you know, what would you tell someone about being a woman in sales? And one of the guys said, well, it's the same as selling if you were a man. It's the same principles. Well, that is true on a lot of levels. At the same time, I think women have a certain, we are emotionally driven in terms of connecting with people. We are connectors. I think we're intuitive. There's a reading of people that we do quite well. I also think we have obstacles that men may not face, which are family obligations, balancing work and life. And that can be a challenge. I mean, I've had a boss before who said, this job is not for a woman with children or a family. And I thought, well, I don't really care, because I'm going to do it. So you are going to have people who maybe judge you or limit you or see you in a certain hole because you are a woman. I think it's a reality, as much as we'd like to think that women have come a long way, baby, and we're not doing Virginia Slims commercials anymore. But the reality is women still have obstacles. And it's good to know that now, not that it's going to dampen you or hamper you or stop you, but to be aware, to learn, to, you know, if someone makes a comment to you that's off color, that's not appropriate, or maybe that is pushing you down, just continue forward and just go, I get what you're about, and then move on, because it is a challenge for women in sales to gain the credibility that they need, and I think that takes time with certain people. It may not happen with certain people. If there are certain people who are not going to respect you, move on and go to the next one, because you need to find the yes. That's all you're looking for, is the yes in your day, right?
Love that. I would have to say that it can be your biggest asset. I think that when you're playing to it in the right way, it can, again, be what's going to propel you the furthest forward from everything that I've found. So I read a book called The Stiletto Network when I first started out in the just in the general workforce industry, and I think it set my mindset for it moving forward. Numbers talk. End of day, if you're doing your work and your numbers are there, like, you will get respected and rewarded for that. But I do think it is, of course, necessary to acknowledge the balances and to just be aware of some of the discrepancies that do still exist, like she was mentioning. So just play to it.
I love it. Has anyone ever been hung up on? I actually have a phone book thrown at me. It probably shows you that I'm 60 years old, but yeah. Can we talk about objection overcoming? Because I don't think we kind of skim over it in our failure. You know, we talk about failures, but that's really 90% of sales. Wouldn't you say? I mean, it's hearing no and being okay with it.
In my current position as a television host, I obviously cannot hear the objections, so I have to envision my client. I have to think about, what is she thinking about? So if I'm selling jewelry, I have to think about, how heavy is it? Will this catch on my clothing? Is it something you'd wear every day? How do you care for it? Does this, match with, what outfits that you wear? Is it more corporate? Is it more casual? Is it something fun? Is it bold? Are you gonna get compliments? So I have to think about, what are my ladies thinking? And that means being tuned into the generations you're selling to. And as much as television is about youth and young people, at the same time, who's watching Home Shopping, right? So being aware of your clients, being aware of what's happening in their lives, being sensitive to that, talking to it, telling stories that relate to them, you can overcome objections by being in their shoes for a moment. If you're a different generation, you need to think about the generation you're selling to. Learn about them. Talk to them. Find out about them. You need to get your head put in their place. It's like when I talk to my 13-year-old, I have to figure out, what is she thinking now? So it's important for you to really be tuned in to who your customer is and what issues and problems they're facing in their everyday life and in their business.
Completely echo all of that, of course. I would say too, I mean, sales is human to human. Sales is understanding other people and their motivators. I think that where I found the most success is always figuring out kind of what makes people tick and selling to that. There's all kinds of analysis and you can learn from other people, but everything is so situational when it comes to real sales. And like I was talking about selling just basic stories, it all is always going to need to be catered. So I think that figuring out what's going to be that hindrance beforehand, getting in front of the right people, doing your homework in the right way, gives you the best way to have that strategy and to kind of overcome the objections before they even come up, if that makes sense.
Who's glad they came to this thing today? So how many product sellers do we have, or product marketers? People that market or sell products. Okay. And how about service? People that sell service. Great. Well, we have 2 of each. So I'm going to ask. I'm going to start with you, Wendi, just because I'm Jones. And product sales. You've sold products successfully in 4 minutes or less. We have to hear more about how you did that successfully for so long.
Well, in terms of products, people would ask me, how do you sell something you don't love? And I mean, honestly, I didn't love 90% of the stuff I was selling. So it's not about that, but I looked at it as every single thing I sold was like a person. If you meet people, are you going to be best friends with them right away? No. But you're going to be able to find good things in them. So it's important for you to be able to find something positive in each thing you're selling. I know that some people think sales is some people think sales is lying or coming up with stories on products they don't like. But if you change your attitude and you think about it from the perspective of what are the good things about this? I mean, even if it was the cheapest rolling luggage I'd ever seen in my life, for God's sakes, it was $39. And look at all the stuff it fit, and it was lightweight, and it was portable, and it could fit in the overhead bin, and it could fit underneath, and it came in 5 cute colors, and it also had an attachable who knows what. So I had to come up with ideas. Now, would I buy this for something like a long-term trip? No. So I didn't sell it like that. So if you don't oversell it, and you don't pitch it for something it isn't, you're gaining trust with your audience. You're able to sell it based on the true, honest-to-goodness features and benefits that you actually have. And you can detach yourself, at least that's what I did. I detached myself from, am I sitting here as a customer when I'm selling it to you? No. I'm not really looking at it saying, well, would I actually buy it? I'm not doing that. I'm looking at it as, what are all the things that make this thing fantastic? So I think that's important to do when you're selling a product, because even if you don't totally believe in it, I know that a lot of you think, oh, I've got to sell it only if I believe in it. Well, you're not always going to have that benefit. In an ideal world, sure. But very often, you'll be given something that you don't love. And in terms of selling something very quickly, again, you have to think of what are the main key points. I always think of it as bullet points, the top 3. Hit the top 3. You want to open it up with a really compelling headline. Solutions are always a great headline. So you're looking to solve a problem. Or you're looking, maybe this mug, if I'm selling this mug, I talk about the perfect gift for the salesperson in your life. So
If you were to sell it to me, could you throw in that lipstick? That'd be
And it's a little extra for the lipstick, but you'll create your own.
I got a doubter.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You'll create your own. So what's nice is that you'll detach yourself sometimes from the details of why you would buy it, but you are incorporating those thoughts to yourself. Make sense? And I'm taking any questions too. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to raise your hands throughout.
Prentice, you sell an experience. You sell a service, and you've done it well. How do you do it?
Great question. Well, with an amazing team, I have to shout out the WeWork squad back there. But I'd say that with selling that experience was kind of like I mentioned before, is understanding human motivators and understanding why you're doing what you're doing and understanding the situation that people are in currently, and how you're both going to get to that end goal, right? It's under promising and over delivering, which sounds strange in the sales sense. I know you always want to shoot for the moon with it, but if you have that great product, you can pitch it in that way that's going to lead to those end results. So I think that with any type of experience, it's really helping people envision it. It's helping them understand what their lives could be like, what that end goal could be, and how you're going to help them get there.
What's your biggest success? Everyone's got that crown jewel.
You know, I don't really have one crown jewel that stands out. I would say that what helps me be successful is my creativity. And I do recall one time having a pair of jeans that nobody really wanted to sell because they were stretchy and they kind of made your butt look big and all kinds of fun things. And I decided to have fun with it. And I decided to pitch it as, these are so comfortable, you can do anything in them. So I did yoga poses, we did high kicks, I did a split on the ground, we did all kinds of things. I said, they're so comfortable, they feel like jammies. You know, so I sold it from what it was. I mean, it's not gonna be the cutest jean in the world, it's not gonna make you look super skinny, but it was gonna be comfortable, and you would be able to make 9 million contortions with these jeans. And they ended up selling extremely well. As a matter of fact, they constantly gave me the jeans because I sold them well. So the only problem with selling something well is they keep giving it to you.
Are those jeans still for sale? Because they sound right up my alley. Prentice?
Well, still work in progress, I have to say. I've just had amazing experiences at the different companies I've had the fortunate experience of working for. I think that being able to put yourself in those situations, and for me, getting to WeWork, opening this building successfully, or opening another one successfully, or on the way to being successful on December 1st, coming up at Lagoon and Uptown. So it's just the process that goes into that, and the experience that I get to keep having with it.
Wonderful. All right, last question. I'm going to stop being selfish. I know you guys are like, is it my turn yet? My turn yet? We're good? Okay. Last question is going to be this. What would you tell, if you go back in time, all the experience you guys have had, right? And some have had more than others. What would you tell your 24-year-old self? You know, if you could go back in time. And for Prentice, that was like on Sunday. So if you could remember back then. Wendi, would you like to start? I'd love to hear what you've gained and learned along the way.
Well, I'd say at the beginning of the career, you're trying to figure out what do you like and you don't like, and you know, if you find yourself distracted in your job, or you want to go taking acting classes on the side, think about selling something else. That's kind of what happened to me with pharmaceutical sales. I realized I was a glorified airline stewardess. I was delivering food and to doctors who knew more than I did, really didn't care what I had to say. So I found myself distracted and wanting to do something else. So listen to yourself. I mean, ladies, you kind of know when you like what you're doing, when you love what you're doing, when you're respected, when you feel valued, when you feel like you're making a difference, when you're doing something that brings you passion. So don't waste time. There's so much time wasting. When you get older, you start realizing, I don't have time for this. You know, I'm at the point in my career where I feel like I don't have 20 decades to figure this out. It's time to get moving, right? So when you're young, use your youth wisely. Don't waste it on, I mean, you want to learn at each job, but you also don't want to stay in it too long because of comfort, or uncomfortable comfort, or you're just used to it, or it's just easy, or I don't know what else I would do. Start looking, okay? If you don't love what you're doing and you're selling, you don't love the values of the corporation you're working for, do something about it, and just start now, because I'm going to tell you something, looking for a job is a job.
Amen.
I would say that at-bats are key. Getting that experience is key. You're going to, as I mentioned before, get hung up on no one's going to respond back to you, but it's so easy to get caught up in your head. You just need to keep going with it. I know early in my sales career, I would just sit there kind of prepping for these calls and writing down all these possible situations of what could happen. It just wastes time. You're going to learn from those interpersonal experiences, from getting hung up on, from just all of those at-bats. So I would say to get out of your head, to just do it and get that experience, because nobody owes you anything. And you're going to have to get just kind of get going and put yourself in the right positions to get there.
What do you guys think? Put your hands together for these guys. All right, so what do we think? What'd you learn? Well, if you like that, check out coffeeclosers.com for upcoming episodes, recordings, and more. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. Each one has been hand-selected. They're best in class. Until next time, we'll see you at the next Coffee and Closers. Cheers.
Say live, come on live. Live a life we love. Gotta live, I said live. Live a life we love.